have seen my fair share of anime and definitely know the shows that stand out more than others. One Piece, for example, is in its own lane in anime. It has a deep plot with incredible and relatable characters and such an immersive story. There's other great anime out there, of course, but it is really rare to come across an anime that really stands out from the rest. And after watching Berserk 1997, this is one of them ones. I've always seen hella manga panels from Berserk, and the artwork is hella gory and creepy, but also looks really tough. And the main character always aura farms in every page that I see him in. Now, I don't be reading manga because my brain is fried, but I really wanted to see if he was just as swagged out in an anime. It was really confusing trying to find which anime to start with Berserk, because they've made movies and TV shows about the same arc, the Golden Age. The most recent one in 2023 looks decent. I definitely wasn't going to try the 2016 version. After reading on Reddit the best way to watch Berserk, the version made in 1997 was the best version that you could get. I was kind of hesitant when I read 1997, afraid of the bad animation, but this animation is something different. The fantasy vibe of this show just feels really nostalgic, of course dark, but also very warm. The music really made the anime such an immersive experience and one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in anime. Guts' theme song has to be top 1. This shit is so heavenly. But of course, with it being old though, the fight scenes weren't really hitting as much, as some of the scenes were really just slideshows for him. But everything else really makes up for it. And even with the great aesthetic and animation of this anime, the story is even better. I'm not gonna dive into the story with too much detail, because you should definitely go watch it yourself, but I'll give a quick overview with some spoilers, so don't keep watching if you really want to go into this blindly. The anime is just a backstory of Guts, which is only a fraction from the actual manga. It follows this young guy named Guts, an ore farming lone mercenary with his iconic big ass sword, and how he ends up joining a group of mercenaries called the Band of the Hawk. Here he meets the leader Griffith, a pretty boy that's a master with his sword, as well as Casca, his right hand woman, who is down bad for Griffith, but Griffith never claims her as his ball, and she despises Griffith and Guts' relationship. Now this dynamic is pretty unique, because Griffith told Guts to his face that he owns him and can do whatever he wants to him, but at the same time they are really good friends and trust each other with their lives, and even have a naked water fight like we all did with our homies. Guts ends up fighting with this group for about 3 years and grows really close with the gang and even becomes a commander of his own squad. Another thing I love about this shit is the foreshadowing. During this journey, Guts comes across his first battle with a demon or apostle named Zod the Immortal, who absolutely just starts manhandling Guts, throwing him around and beating him up, just breaking down Guts' character. But Griffith comes and saves him, and they have a pretty cool fight scene together. But even though the two of them together are hella strong, they can't defeat Zod at their current state. But then Zod catches what Griffith was wearing around his neck. Zod knows exactly what this is and gives a crazy foreshadowing speech to Guts, basically saying that Guts is going to be a phenomenal warrior one day, but his best friend is destined for something that he cannot avoid at all, and is going to cause everyone around him nothing but despair. Guts was hella confused when he said this, but it definitely doesn't leave his mind. He ends up just flying out of the place, not killing the two, leading Guts and Griffith to go and recover shortly after. Fast forward, the Band of the Hawk worked their way up from a mercenary group to a respectable army in a wealthy kingdom. But right when things seem to be going so well, it just never is. Before I move on, Griffith as a character is a great leader and has a great bond with his group, and is the type of character that is always one step ahead but is very manipulative. He's very goal driven, wanting to rule his own kingdom as well as something more, and is willing to make sure it happens at any cost, even if he has to sleep with the medieval P. Diddy to get it. He has the closest relationship with Guts and Casca, favoring Guts more because he is a huge part in helping him with his goal. Back to the story. Griffith gave a speech to the king's daughter about his dreams, and about how a friend to him is someone with their own goals and aspirations and who doesn't follow someone else's dreams, which Guts overhears and comes to the realization that Griffith doesn't see him as an equal. And Guts has respect for Griffith, seeing him as a friend. So when he heard this, he ended up coming up to the decision of leaving the Band of the Hawk and finding out what his goal wants to be. Mind you, he makes this decision right when Griffith was real close to his goal. Before leaving, we see that Casca grew feelings towards Guts, and the main characters of the band all have respect for Guts and wanted to say their goodbyes to him. But Griffith was heated about losing his right-hand man. He wasn't gonna let him get away easy and challenged him to a duel for him to stay, which Guts ends up winning and stays strong to the decision of leaving the group. Griffith felt betrayed when Guts is doing what he really should be doing, but Griffith wanted him all to himself. This made Griffith clumsy with his plans and tries to quickly reach his goal, which ends up in him the princess to try and win her over and get even closer to the king, but he gets caught the next morning and put right into jail. Since then, it's been 1 year and Guts has just been chilling, doing his own thing, trying to find what his goal is, but then learns that the Band of the Hawk is being hunted, so he goes to see what's up. He reunites with them after a year and learns about Griffith being tortured and held underground all this time. Guts was in disbelief that one of the greatest fighters and closest friend has been locked up like this for a year. Guts and Casca, who are now a couple, I think, kinda, as well as the rest of the Band of the Hawk, goes to rescue Griffith, fighting their way through the prison until until they reached his cell. And Griffith was unrecognizable if it wasn't for his helmet. Super skinny and was barely even breathing. Everyone worked together to help Griffith escape and take him back to their camp. This is when the story takes a crazy dark turn. Remember the necklace that Griffith was wearing? Well, it's actually a portal to the demon world. Griffith's true self really shows when he makes a deal with the God Hands, which are the demon kings of the underworld, in which he offers all of his homies lives so he could be reborn and continue to reach his goal, which then gave everyone from his group a curse mark, marking them as a sacrifice and having all the demons come towards him until they are dead. And the next sequence of events was just unfathomable. Everyone that we grew to understand and love was just getting bodied one by one with no way to escape. During this episode, you can feel the rage, the sadness, the confusion, everything's just hitting you all at once. And to top it off, Griffith was reborn as Femto, the newest member of the God Hand with crazy ass aura. I can't lie, the fit's tough. But then begins to do unspeakable things. With Guts and Casca being the only ones alive, Griffith has the demons hold Guts down to watch him Casca right in front of him as he's staring him down in his eyes. And the show ends. Craziest cliffhanger I've ever seen. The whole story building up for that point was such an experience, really getting you to understand each character and also having a more realistic feeling into the story. This was a piece of art and every single detail was something admirable. Guts is a tough ass protagonist. I just started reading the manga and I could just tell that his character development is about to be top tier. Griffith is one of, if not the best villains that villains have to offer. Seeing his character become what it is was foreshadowed so hard, but masked by his character also. Pure cinema. Berserk 1997 is low-key an underrated classic and one of the best animes that I've ever seen. I'm reading the manga right now and I plan on watching the other shows and movies made on Berserk. But if you plan on getting into it, definitely start with this masterpiece.